Hey everybody, thanks for coming out. I hope you guys all just caught opening ceremony where Google DeepMind announced that they're going to be working on StarCraft 2 as their AI platform for research moving forward. But we're not going to talk about that here today. We actually have a panel on that tomorrow morning on the main stage. We're going to talk about what's going on in the game of StarCraft 2. My name is Tim Morton. I'm the production director for StarCraft 2. And I'm here with some of the leads from the dev team, and we're going to talk about what's coming up. So in 2016, we really changed the approach to how we developed StarCraft 2. Prior to that, we had always saved up all of our work to release in these big box product launches. But in this last year, we've been releasing our content as we complete it. And we've had patches and new content, new features all throughout the year. So we're going to keep that up in 2017. You guys are going to have a chance to hear a little bit about what we have in store. So I'm going to be asking the dev team here some questions. I'm going to start off with Chris Reed, who we lovingly refer to as Crash on the dev team. Chris is the lead UI designer. So Chris, in 2016, we had a whole bunch of big UI changes. Can you give us just some highlights?
Absolutely. And before I dive into that, I just wanted to take the time to thank everyone on the team who put all the effort into making these features come to life. It was a lot of work, very exciting, and I'm glad that everyone's been enjoying what we've been working on. So in 2016, we touched on all the modes. For campaign, we were able to do new user interfaces for all of the Nova mission packs. For co-op missions, we supported not only custom mutators, masteries, as well as mutators themselves. We also supported the launch of new commanders. For the ladder or multiplayer, we actually did the ladder revamp, as well as separate MMRs per race. So that was another really cool feature we were excited to bring out. And then finally, just across the UI itself, we were able to touch upon emoticons or emojis, as well as bring out the new feature for collections.
That is a lot of stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about what's in store for 2017?
Absolutely. I don't want to spoil too much of the surprise, but not only are we going to be focused on launching new features, we also want to start leveling up some of the existing features and make them better, clearer, crisper, more polished. So we'll be focused on things such as user-generated content, as well as bringing in a new user experience, making that a lot cleaner, nicer for new users coming in. We also want to work on bringing in new rewards, touching up rewards, as well as making new things to fill out the collections. One of the last things another thing that we want to touch on is the social atmosphere. I know some of you really have some requests towards having the events brought back, so I'm talking to you guys. We'll be touching on those social features. And then finally, we have a new feature that I'm really excited to talk about.
All right. Well, so what is this new feature to which you alluded?
It is the War Chest. So in StarCraft 2, we'll be launching the War Chest. And what the War Chest is almost like a large bundle that you'll be able to purchase into. And when you buy this bundle, you'll have content that's given to you immediately, such as rewards like skins, decals, emoticons, things like that. Then as you progress through the season, you'll be able to unlock new rewards that will go into your collection that you can use, such as skins. At the end of the season, another set of rewards will also be given to you just for participating. One of the coolest features about this war chest, and what I'm the most excited to talk about, is that the money that you use to spend on this will go towards supporting global esports initiatives. So if you're really into esports and watching StarCraft esports, this is a way for you to participate in that.
That's super exciting. Awesome. And we are obviously all fans of StarCraft esports. Now, you mentioned the seasons. Are the seasons for the War Chest the same as multiplayer seasons, WCS seasons? What's a season for War Chest?
So a season for War Chest is not necessarily tied to the actual ladder itself. It'll have its own seasons. We are going to correlate these to events from WCS and other global initiatives, so there will be tied to those types of events. However, it's not tied to the ladder itself. And I'm going to dive a little bit into actually how the War Chest functions. So it functions as a virtual treasure map. So as you buy something, and disregard my wonderful wireframes. I know you love looking at my wireframes. But it'll work as a virtual treasure map that you can then unlock rewards as you play. So as you see, there's an XP bar. You'll be able to gain experience either playing multiplayer or co-op. And as you gain that experience, it'll unlock a tier of rewards. As you continue to play, new tiers will unlock, you'll get new sets of rewards. There's going to be 3 rounds of rewards that you can unlock throughout a season. So it's up to you to collect all those really cool rewards.
All right, so as a player, if I want to participate in a season of the War Chest, how do I do that?
So we'll have announcements in the client and on the web that will let you know when this is coming or when this is live and when you'll be able to participate. You'll simply be able to buy into it just like you would any bundle, except this is going to be basically a special mega bundle that you'll be able to then, again, unlock all those different things. Again, at the start, you'll get a bunch of rewards just given to you for buying in. You'll have time to unlock all those. And then at the very end, you'll get another bundle of rewards just for participating.
Very cool. You mentioned that this would benefit StarCraft 2 esports. How does that work?
So this is one of the most exciting things for me, and I know exciting for the team as well. So a portion of the proceeds will go to global esports initiatives. We are still deciding how those funds will be separated and moved around, but we are really interested in making sure that this goes on to support esports throughout the future.
All right, so more details to come.
Definitely more details to come.
Got it. Fair enough. All right, Valerie Watros is the lead writer for StarCraft 2. Valerie, is there anything we should know from a story perspective about the War Chest?
Yeah, the War Chest will feature a new digital comic series. The narrative is moving forward after the events of Nova Covert Ops. So we'll get to see where the Terran, the Zerg, and the Protoss are at. Right now, we're going forward with the name Shadow Wars for the comic series.
Very cool. And let me jump to Alan Dilling. Alan led up the art team for Legacy of the Void and for all of the content that came after. Alan, what kind of content will players be able to unlock for War Chest?
Yeah, we have a lot of awesome rewards for the War Chest feature. First, we have a lot of portraits, which everybody loves. Lots of new decals to show off on your base or on your units. Actually, we're going to put in some new 3D race consoles, actual in-game consoles. For instance, the thank you. The Protoss might have like the Purifier race for like their console, or an Alarak themed one, or maybe go to like there we go. Go to like a more Zergy, different color scheme. Anyway, we also have that. My favorite though overall is the skins. So each race has unit skins based on factions. For example, the Tal'Darim might be the Protoss faction. So they're Amon's evil followers. They're evil. They're dark. They have bladed armor, red crystals, very vile. For the Terrans, going back to Wings of Liberty, we actually have the mercenary faction, so they're a little more heavily advanced, more armored, really cool stuff. And for the Zerg, going back to the Heart of the Swarm, we have one of the strains that's a lot more spiky from Xerus, like some webbing, cool new carapace colors, and just overall more vicious. And we also recognize that readability is a huge part of the game, whether you're a pro player or a casual player. So we made sure, even though we're getting kind of crazy and having some fun with these skins, not to mess with the gameplay at all, or the readability.
All right, so what can you tell us about when the War Chest will launch?
So right now we're shooting for the first quarter of next year, so keep your eyes open.
All right, thanks. So that is the War Chest. We're going to change gears a little bit now and talk about Nova Covert Ops. So Valerie wrote the story for Nova Covert Ops. Can you give us a little recap of what has happened so far?
Absolutely. So Nova was a character who appeared in Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm briefly. Now we're getting her full story following the events of Legacy of the Void. She has found herself mired in a web of conspiracy and political intrigue tied into the reign of Emperor Valerian. One of the things we have coming up too is Nova the Keep. It's a comic that takes place before the events of Nova Covert Ops, but sets up a lot of the stuff you see happening in there. So this was in the early days of Valerian's reign. Those of you who know your StarCraft lore might remember the Ghost program. It was not always the happiest place to be in. So this comic explores that situation and is a great setup for how some of those character relationships play out in the events of Mission Pack 3.
All right, and when is that comic going to be available? Do you know?
The comic will be out later this month.
All right, coming soon. Very cool. All right. What can you tell us anything about what's coming up in this story without spoiling too much for the third Nova mission pack?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, there's this web of intrigue. It centers around an opposition faction that calls itself the Defenders of Man. Recently, in the last mission pack, Nova learned who was behind the Defenders of Man. It was not who anyone expected. And here today at BlizzCon, we have a little teaser for you right from the beginning of Mission Pack 3 as we're catching up with the leader of this faction and seeing a hint of what motivates her to do all of these things she's doing. So here you go.
Emitters have been augmented by technology recovered from the Mobius Foundation. If discovered, it will trace back to Valerian Minsk.
I've accepted that my father is beyond redemption, and must be removed from power.
Yes.
The Emperor has arrived, General. He wants to make his announcement soon.
Does he? We'll be watching closely. If anything goes wrong, your orders are to kill that boy.
Yikes. All right. Let's switch over to Alan. Alan, what can you tell us about what the art team has been working on for the mission packs?
Yeah, you know, after Legacy of the Void shipped, we thought this is the best looking StarCraft game ever. The crew did an amazing job, from the cutscenes to the campaign maps, the effects, the UI, everything. So one of the challenges for us is how do we improve on that? How do we raise the bar and just make a better product? One thing that helped out was the scope. We actually have less missions. There's 3 missions per pack, and usually in an expansion it's like 25, 30. So we were able to put more resources toward each map, which means more detail, just more cool stuff. You know, telling a better story. How do we complement the gameplay further? And then also, you know, we've had like 70-something missions over the course of StarCraft 2. So we've seen a lot of jungle planets, space platforms, cities, all these things. So trying to figure out, you know, how do we best tell these stories in new environments, keep it fresh. And one thing is to actually make new locations wherever the story allows. So, for instance, Mission Pack 2, we had this cool tropical resort, which seems kind of un-StarCrafty, and then, of course, it gets invaded by Zerg, and there's like burning boats and everything, and then it feels very StarCrafty all of a sudden. We also have like a mining planet that has terrazine gas throughout the atmosphere, actually produced by these huge flying space whales, so kind of getting more fantastical with it. And then we have the other side of that is, how do we take something we've already seen before, like a city, and try and just give it more detail, make it more immersive, more engaging for the player. So here we have another city, but we've added a lot more distinct areas and like industrial districts. There's like a biker bar. There's a banking area. We actually have a natural history museum that has Ultraquist bones in it, which is really cool, and just a lot more small details in it that we're able to put into the maps. And then on the cutscene side for the story mode team, they did an amazing job just, you know, improving camera work, lighting, scripting, all these things that try and tell the story in the best way possible. And I think you saw from Valerie's video, they did an amazing job.
Definitely. So how about on the unit side? Our team doing anything special for Nova's units?
Yeah, you know, we felt Nova is such an awesome character. She deserves her own unit. So for the mission packs, she has all her units used in the mission packs are her own skins for the Covert Ops theme. So, and starting with the new Mission Pack 3 coming out soon, all her buildings will also have the Covert Ops themed skins. So we did some fun stuff with these. It's kind of nice because it's a departure from the old skins, the old technology of Terrans, where it's a little more clunky, traditionally, you know, kind of welded together, rusty. And this is the opposite end of the spectrum, where it's a little more elegant, more stealthy, more high tech. It's the pinnacle of Terran technology. So it was kind of fun for us to flex in that manner.
Got it. And so will all of these new art assets be available to arcade content creators?
Absolutely. Just like all the campaign art in the past, all the assets and all the source art will be available for all the mod community or the arcade maps, whatever you guys want to do with it. So we're really, really excited about that. And also, we actually put in some new functionality. Like, for instance, we needed a hologram to turn on, and that's all we needed for it. But we went ahead and made sure we had different states, and now it's to turn it off and include those animations in the final files, so that way you guys can use it however you wanted to.
So I know a question that's going to come up, since we're not working on other mission packs right now. Val, is this the end of the StarCraft story?
We've wrapped up Nova's story with Nova Covert Ops for now. The story will be moving forward with the comics that we're calling Shadow Wars. So you'll get to see what all three races are up to in that content.
Very exciting. And how do players experience those comics then for War Chest?
For the first time, they will be available right in your StarCraft game. So you can go straight from playing to reading comics.
That is super exciting. Very cool. All right, we're going to change up gears again and talk about co-op. So at the end of the row, we've got Matt Morris and David Sum, who led up the co-op vision and implementation. So Matt, co-op turned out to be a really popular game mode. Can you tell me a little bit about what your expectations were ahead of the launch of Legacy of the Void?
Yeah, you know, our expectations, it was a little hard for us to gauge. We've never done something like this before, never done co-op in our RTS for our games before, so it was a little hard to gauge, but we had hoped that everyone who enjoyed the campaign would come over here to the space and they would play after they finished the campaign, and we were hoping that players would stick around for like 10 hours, which is roughly the equivalent of a full-length campaign. However, when we launched Legacy of the Void, we found a couple months later that there was a large group of people maxing out a commander, which is roughly 20 hours. And when we launched the mastery levels and the weekly mutations earlier this year, we never would have expected that the number of games being played per day at times would exceed what you would see in the competitive multiplayer scene. And that was just something we never expected.
Excellent. Well, so David, then, over the course of this year, we've seen a pretty steady stream of new commanders and new maps. Can we expect that to continue into 17?
Yeah, definitely. We're really excited about next year. We're planning on making new commanders, new maps, as well as some new features.
And is there a predetermined schedule for how that stuff's going to release? Is it going to be as it's finished? What's the plan?
Yeah, we started looking at the next year, and we have some goals we've laid out, but as usual, like, we focus on quality, so the times and the release schedules may vary a little bit.
All right, fair enough. So you led the design on the commanders. Who's the next commander going to be?
The next commander will be Alexei Stukov. He's the infested Terran. You guys may remember him from StarCraft Brood War, and more recently, you may remember him as one of Kerrigan's allies.
All right, so Stukov is here to play, right? Can you tell us more about his abilities?
Yeah, so Stukov has, he's kind of like Terran and Zerg, so we've incorporated both races kind of into his playstyle. We also wanted to represent the infested zombie-like theme that he has. So he's got things like a building that spawns endless waves of infested civilians. He's got production structures that are infested Terran buildings, but they use cocoons. And he's also got like this theme about being having grotesque monsters, which are just mashups of Terran and Zerg. For example, his siege tank has tentacles that can poke the enemy. It'll eat your own civilians and then shoot them out as ammo. So he's got some really crazy stuff. And speaking of some grotesque monsters, some of you guys may remember the infested bunker that we showed at BlizzCon many, many years ago. Here's a preview. If you guys see if you can remember this guy. So yeah, that guy is definitely not your typical bunker. He can uproot, he can walk around, he generates his own infested Marines inside of himself, he can unload them, so he's got some pretty crazy stuff going on.
Seriously, all right. Is he going to be a playable hero on the battlefield like Kerrigan?
He is not. He has some pretty fun abilities on his top bar. For example, an ability that lets you control your infested. He's got the ability to infest structures. You can target your own structures, your ally structures, and even the enemy structures. He's also got a couple abilities that'll call down some of these big monsters, which I won't spoil here. You guys can check him out on the show floor. He's playable just down in the hall. Just a little caveat, he is still work in progress, so you guys are seeing a very early version of him.
All right, very cool. Let's see, do we have anything to show?
We do. We have a very special sneak peek video to show you guys, so let's check that out.
Okay.
I still know a thing or two about leading an army. My forces are unorthodox, but effective. Our opponents lack a basic understanding of strategy. I will send my forces to establish control. Have you any idea how many infested there are? My army might be monsters, but that is what makes us strong.
That's a great line.
All right. Well, now I know we don't just have a new commander coming. We've also got a new map. Is that right, Matt?
That is correct. We have a new map here at BlizzCon called Minor Evacuation. We are also introducing a new character with this mission named Deborah Green. She's a Calmorian guildmaster, and she really needs the help of the commanders to help evacuate some civilian shuttles from an infested planet.
All right, so how does the player help do that?
So the way this mission works is there are 9 shuttles on the map, but there's only ever 7 of them that will ever be active. This will be different every time you play the mission. This is something we're trying to get into a lot of our missions, is more replayability. And so when one of these shuttles starts activating, the infested units will come out and they'll try to destroy the shuttle. So the player needs to do 2 things. They need to get over to the shuttle, they need to clear it out, and then they need to stay and defend the shuttle while it's prepping to take off. Once enough shuttles have left the planet, you will then win, but if you lose too many shuttles, you will lose the mission. And I have, just if you guys haven't had a chance to go over to the demo station, I have a little video as to what the mission looks like. It probably speaks more to Alan and his art team and some of the stuff we're doing for the co-op.
And this map is also based on that one mining planet I told you about with the terrazine gas and the giant space whales. And I think the Calmarian miners came in here and kind of colonized it, but we've taken these old maps in the campaign and turned them into co-op maps, so it's been really fun. Lots of creep.
Okay, so Left to Die. It's been a really popular arcade map. Any plans to bring that to co-op?
Yes, we're actually working on the Left to Die map. This was a very popular arcade map that Blizzard published right after Wings of Liberty. It's technically our very first cooperative map where you saw 2 players against objectives. So this is something we're working on, but we had to make a lot of changes to this mission in order to fit into the co-op mode. So we're going to change this mission and call it Dead of Night now. Now this mission still has all the same flavor you remember from the previous mission. It has the day-night cycle. At nighttime, the infested are going to come in and they're going to try to overpower the commanders. And then once the day breaks, the sun comes up and it's going to destroy all the evil infested units. And you can also expect to see a lot of those custom units that you saw in the previous one too. So you got the kaboomers, the chokers, the hunterlings, and stuff like that. So we're really excited to get this mission out. Right now we're looking at sometime early 2017. And just got a little sneak peek video of what the mission looks like and how it's coming along.
Very cool. So On the multiplayer side, we see a lot of great community maps. Is there going to be an opportunity for the community to get involved in building co-op?
Yeah, I want to make an announcement. Rock the Cabinet is a contest that we've really enjoyed. Last year's theme on the fantasy-based, we really enjoyed that. So the Rock the Cabinet contest we're doing this year is actually going to be focused on co-op missions. So anybody out there who's been excited to create a co-op map and try to get it into the pool, we're going to have the full announcement with the full details coming in weeks after BlizzCon. So please stay tuned.
Excellent. Yeah, and I think we have a co-op map making panel happening also. Is that right?
Yes, upstairs in the third floor, the
Dark Moon Fair.
Dark Moon Fair?
Dark Moon Fair, yeah. 4 o'clock.
Okay, so get some details there. David, jumping over to you for a second. Mutators have really increased replayability for co-op. We've seen just a ton of new mutators over the course of the year. Is that going to keep up next year? Are we going to start recycling? What's the plan?
No, we've been really excited about mutations and the mutators that we've made, along with the mastery levels. It really was a game changer for us. It gave fresh content to players every week, as well as the long-term goals with the masteries. So we're really excited about continuing to work on new content, new combinations. We're even doing like special events, like the Halloween one that we just played. So there'll be more of those in the future, so we're really excited about continuing our work.
Tremendous. Anything else, Matt, that you can tell us coming for co-op for next year?
Yeah, we're in the middle of designing a new feature that we're calling the co-op leaderboards. And what co-op leaderboards will do is it's going to give a score to all the co-op players. And the way this works is when you complete a mission, you're going to get a score based on how efficiently you beat that mission. Once you've played all the missions, you're going to get a final score, and this is what the default leaderboard will show. Now, our goal is not just to do the normal gameplay. We also want to do the weekly mutation challenges, so we'll have a weekly scoreboard there, and also for the custom mutators as well. Like I said, we're still in the middle of designing this, so there's a lot of details we need to still iron out. But we want to try to get as much flexibility into the system as we can. We want players to be able to look at individual missions to see how they improve the score. They want to see which commanders are doing best on which map, and even per difficulty. So right now we're looking somewhere probably middle 2017 when we'll be done with this.
All right, that's going to be a great addition, definitely. Here's a question that I suspect people out there would like to know. You guys, having worked on co-op, what co-op commanders do you play?
Well, for me, they're all like children, like my own children. So it's really difficult to pick a favorite. It really depends on the kind of mood I'm in. So, for example, if I feel like pew-pewing things from space, I'll play Karax. I have a lot of fun with Abathur because I like picking up power-ups on the map. So, yeah, it really just depends on the mood. I like to cycle through them all.
How about you, Matt?
You know, I think from day one, I've really gravitated towards Kerrigan. I enjoyed controlling a lot of power in a single unit. I run around, I try to destroy as much of the map as I can. Obviously, on the higher difficulties, I get myself in trouble because I'll tend to forget to build an army. But I have a lot of fun running with Kerrigan. And right now, I want to say Alrak is coming in for a second for me because he has that very similar feel that I could go onto the map and just destroy a lot of units. So really enjoying those two commanders.
All right. David, I know you've helped from time to time on the multiplayer side as well. What can you tell us about what's coming up for StarCraft 2 multiplayer?
Well, StarCraft multiplayer has a full panel on its own. It's at 4:45 right here on this stage, so make sure to come back. We're going to be doing a deep dive into the upcoming patch with all the changes.
Okay. Very good. Well, you guys are probably tired of hearing me ask these guys questions, so if you have questions for them, or for me for that matter, you can start lining up at the microphone that's going to be in the aisle. I think it's over there. And just to recap a little bit, we have a tremendous amount coming up in the year ahead for StarCraft 2. You've heard about War Chest, which is a very exciting new feature that will help support StarCraft 2 esports. The conclusion to the Nova mission packs that should really be pretty epic. And then just a ton of stuff that's coming on the co-op side and more to talk about in the multiplayer panel later on today. Before we get to questions, I want to highlight that we have a number of other StarCraft panels that are happening here at BlizzCon. There's one that I think overlaps a little bit with the end of this one, StarCraft 2 Art and Design. We've got the co-op mission panel that we talked about earlier, the multiplayer panel we alluded to. We have a co-op show match happening that should be super exciting to watch. Of course, WCS finals, and then finally tomorrow morning, the Google DeepMind AI collaboration with the StarCraft 2 dev team. So be sure to check out all of those if you can. And for now, we will start taking some questions.
I think we went too fast.
All right, while they're doing that, I also forgot to mention that we have a very special BlizzCon mutation challenge. It's one that we made just for BlizzCon. So that's also playable on the show floor. So make sure to check out Stukov, the new map, and the special mutation challenge.
Yeah, right over there.
Hi. I was a little unclear. There's co-op here commanders that are off-map and just have like global abilities, like and then there's ones with the unit you control, like an actual hero unit. Is Stukov one of those? I couldn't tell.
So Stukov is not a hero on the field. He's one that has the powers that you call down from the top bar.
And are you leaning more towards those kind of heroes? Because I personally prefer the off-the-map heroes.
Okay. We like to keep a variety.
Okay.
It really depends on the theme and the play style that we're going for. So, for example, Kerrigan and Nova, they make very obvious good heroes on the field. So it really depends on hero to hero.
Okay, thanks.
Hello, I'd like to ask if you're planning to add an option to disable skins for competitive multiplayer.
We don't have that planned right now, but I think that's feedback we're open to. So definitely if people have opinions on that, let us know and we will take that to heart.
Okay, thanks.
With the death of Pro League, is StarCraft multiplayer dying? Ending?
I actually think that StarCraft multiplayer is in an amazing place right now. If we look at what's going on here at BlizzCon with 3 foreigners in the round of 8, this is going to be one of the most exciting WCS finals that we've ever seen. We've got some big plans for WCS Circuit and for WCS Korea coming up next year. Obviously, Pro League has been wonderful to experience all of these years, and we've enjoyed it very much. But we do believe that the ecosystem in Korea will stay vibrant and stay healthy, and we see StarCraft 2 multiplayer gaining in popularity. We expect that we will have another great year next year.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
All right, I was wondering if, let's say, what you're doing with Alexei Stukov, we'll be able to see with more heroes kind of like that. For example, a match between Protoss and Terran or Protoss and Zerg heroes as well.
Want to take that?
Well, there are, I guess there are hybrids out there. There's some Zelnaga maybe. I don't know. Well, what kind of hero would you like to see?
I'd kind of like to see something between Protoss and Terran. Mostly sort of like a tech combination. Like, let's say they've got a carrier that shoots off a bunch of ships, but on the bottom of it, it's got the weapon of a siege tank that can shoot the ground as well.
Yeah, people have been posting lots of crazy ideas that are really awesome on the forums, so maybe you can write up a commander pitch that I can read later. Steal your ideas.
Okay, cool.
Thanks.
Hello. I was actually wondering if you were pursuing any ideas for different game modes.
Well, I think there is always brainstorming going on. We don't have anything specific to talk about right now, but we love to hear ideas from the community as well. We've seen a few come in, so if you guys have ideas, please share those too.
I know a lot of people like to have like siege or defense type game modes where they can try to get like a high score. That kind of game mode is great for single player and multiplayer, where you can try to get the high score.
Okay.
Yeah, we have the we announced the leaderboards coming out, and so as we talk about the leaderboard, we do talk about what more can we actually add to co-op. Obviously we have the weekly mutation challenges. We've had conversations of what can we do differently than just mutators. It's something we could slide in for that week, something that would feed a system like you're talking, but nothing solid at this point.
All right, thank you.
I think also the mutation challenges may give us a space to kind of explore some of those wackier ideas like defense maps and stuff.
Hey, now I'm a huge fan of StarCraft, and I think like your game is amazing, and every time I present it to somebody, they love it. Like they don't know the game, even if they don't game, they love the game. So I feel like if there's a lack of marketing, like coming to find new players, like I don't know, like new trailers or things that would pass on TV, or like putting boards, like when Overwatch came to be, there was so much stuff out, like everybody see it everywhere, and I feel like StarCraft deserves some of that love with all this new co-op and everything. It's less overwhelming now to start StarCraft than it ever was, because it was so overwhelming before to play this game, and now it's like easy. You can go in, you can play co-op, you don't have to like fight a bunch of people that are just going to destroy you. It's really satisfying. So is there any plan on like giving a new punch of marketing or something?
We will be doing some things towards the middle of the year to really encourage players to come in and check out StarCraft or check back in on StarCraft if they haven't in a while. I think already there is, with co-op, with the new tutorial that we did with Legacy of the Void, so much content for players who are coming into the game new. The other thing I would mention is we do have Starter Edition, which is free to download. The first 5 missions of Wings of Liberty, the 3 prologue missions from Legacy of the Void, custom multiplayer, arcade. So there are a lot of tools for players who are new to StarCraft to come in and check it out. And the biggest thing that you guys can do to help is spread that word and get your friends in to check out StarCraft. But we will definitely try to encourage them this year as well.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello. In regards to Stukov, great new commander, but are you guys looking to add Talendar with the Purifiers or Dahaka with the Primal Zerg anytime soon? Because those would be amazing commanders.
Those do sound like really cool commanders.
But we have nothing to say at this point, but yeah, we have a list of commanders that we'd like to do. Those are commanders that are definitely on the list. So, I mean, if you guys are going out there posting on Reddit and the forum, like which commander you like, because this is really a good opportunity, the way we drop content now, to actually interact with the community and really see what you guys want, right? Because that's ultimately our goal, is to make content for you guys.
Thank you very much. I'm super excited for when Dahaka comes out.
Sweet.
Hi there. I'm a big fan of StarCraft. I love all the stuff that you're doing with the co-op missions and the story. Being a big fan since the first one, it's an awesome build. One thing that I really like is the competitive play. And with the topics that you discussed today, there isn't too much on things being added to the meta, new units for each of the different races. Do we have plans for that? Maybe not this year, but maybe in 2018 or 2019?
That's a good one to hit David Kim with in the multiplayer panel. But what I will say, and Davey's kind of gone on record with this before, we are constantly evaluating the game. And I think the balanced test map that's out there now represents some thinking about how the game should evolve. But Davey in the past has expressed openness to consider other changes moving forward. So that's a great one to hit him with at that panel. I don't know. David, do you want to say anything else on that front?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all right, yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hi. I was wondering, with the implementation of the mastery levels for the commanders, for future plans, how would you keep the balance in check with them sort of like expanding on power?
Yeah, we're definitely keeping a close eye on those. There are a bunch of mastery categories that are not super desirable, so we're always looking at those. We're trying to, look at the data, read the forums. But the nice thing about the way that we're releasing content now is that we can easily patch, and we can make not only balance changes, but we can make some design changes as well. So
cool.
We're definitely open to feedback. Again, I want to plug our talk at 3 o'clock. It's on the 3rd floor at 3 o'clock in the Dark Moon Fair. So if you want to drop by, we can kind of talk about some more details.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that is it for questions. Thank you guys so much for playing StarCraft. We really appreciate you coming out to BlizzCon, and we will see you on the show floor and in the arena. Thanks.